Hi, my name is James Shepard, and today I want to give you the advice that I gave a 20-year-old guy who is getting into merchant services. So my advice for a 20-year-old entering merchant services, and really my advice in general for somebody who is getting into this business for the first time. I really had this great call. I don't even remember the name of who it was I talked to now. I'm really bad with names, but it was like a week ago. And when I had the call, it lasted about 25 minutes or so. And at the end of the call, I was thinking to myself, I've got to shoot a video. I wish I would have recorded this. I'm actually going to be recording some of my calls moving forward for a little vlog we're going to do. But, I was talking to this young man. Called me up. He told me, hey, I'm getting, he was like, I think he was 20, maybe 22. He's like, I'm getting married in a few months. And I just got into merchant services, and he was wanting my advice on the processor he had chosen to sell for and some other things. And basically the advice that I gave to him was very, very simple. I told him, I said, look, what you're doing right now, you are making several assumptions that may or may not be true. And I said, the assumptions that you're making right now are, number one, you can go prospecting and people are going to like you. Number two, you're making the assumption that if people like you and trust you, that you have enough sales ability to close them, right? Number three, you're making the assumption that your processor, if you close them, is going to approve them and that they're going to service the customer in a way that works, right? And number four, that if all of those things happen, that the processor is going to pay you an amount of money that's going to be sufficient to allow you and your new bride to live comfortably, right? I said those are four assumptions. The key to business is not research and analysis and deep contemplative thought. That is the secret to getting a business from 100 million to a billion, perhaps, okay? That's not the secret of getting a business from $0 to $100,000 a year in revenue, okay? The secret to getting from $0 to $100,000 a year in revenue is very simple. You get an idea, step one, okay? You get an idea. Step two, what are the assumptions that are underlying this idea? I could sell you on any idea, right? Like ideas, you could come up with something like ice, selling ice to Eskimos. Think how inconvenient it is for Eskimos to chop up their own ice. They probably need a distributor to just sell them ice. Don't you think that would make sense? Well, there's some assumptions that we're making there, aren't we? We're definitely making some assumptions of how valuable we think this ice is to Eskimos. You can make any idea sound good, but ultimately an idea is based on a set of assumptions that you have made. And people who are successful in business are able to take an idea that seems like a good idea and break it down into its compartments of assumptions that are being made. So that's step two. Step one is come up with an idea. Step two, figure out what assumptions are underlying this idea. So if any of these assumptions are not true, it's not going to work and you're not going to make money, okay? So I'll give you one little side example that might help you understand this. So when iTunes came out, for instance, with Apple came out with iTunes, they came out with the iPod, things like that, right? So one of the assumptions that they had to make was, are people willing to put a device in their pocket or somewhere on their person and walk around with headphones in their ears? Are they willing to do that? Now, here's the interesting thing about it. Walkman had already proven that assumption to be true, right? So they didn't have to prove that assumption. That was already there. They knew already, it was proven fact, people are willing to do that, okay? What was maybe an unproven fact? Well, are people interested in buying songs one at a time rather than the entire album? That had not been proven. Literally nobody had done that before. They had illegal download services, and so that was even more of a problem. Are people willing to abandon illegal free services and actually pay for legal services? And it turns out that assumption was true, but that was the big leap. That was the assumption. So they had to do all kinds of, customer focus groups, surveys, and find out, are people willing to pay for this? Because we don't know if that's true. So iTunes at the time, boy, what a great idea, right? Sounds awesome. Just buy music. I mean, I've got it right here. I even have the subscription service on my phone and all this stuff. That's great. But are people willing to do that? Well, there's some assumptions that are underlying it. So there's going to be some assumptions. So you have to figure out what those are as step number two. Step number three is find the shortest path to proving if these assumptions are correct or not. The shortest path to proving if they're correct or not. So in the case of this young man, my advice to him was very simple. I said, okay, you got a pen and paper? He's like, yeah. I said, let me give you a pitch. And I went through the survey pitch with him. The survey pitch is basically you walk into the business. Hi, my name is James Shepard. I'm starting a new business here in town. And if you have just a couple minutes, I'm just trying to go around and do a little survey. I have 2 or 3 quick questions for existing business owners to learn a little bit more about doing business in the community here and just to get your thoughts on what I'm doing and if you think it's going to work. Do you have like a minute or two for me to ask you these 3 questions? That's a great pitch. People are going to be okay with that. Then question number one is, how did you get into business? How long have you been here? A little small talk. Question number two is, are you currently processing credit card, electronic payments? And if so, who are you using and are you happy with them? And question number three is, if I was, once I get this business launched in a week or two, would you mind if I came back and dropped off some free marketing materials now that I know what you're currently doing? Something like that, right? Very basic. I said, okay, you got that? He's like, yes. I said, now here's what we're going to do. I said, it's 2 o'clock in the afternoon right now. We're going to hang up the phone in a couple minutes. When we do, you're going to go get your shoes on. You're going to get your keys. You're going to go out to your car. You're going to get in your car and you're going to drive to the closest business. And you're going to walk in and you're going to tell them that exact pitch. And I said, then once you do that, you're then going to drive over to the next closest business and you're going to repeat that. And I said, then what you're going to do is you're going to go to about 200-300 businesses over those first 10 business days, and you're going to do that pitch 200-300 times. Now, by doing that, what's going to happen is you're going to prove your first 2 assumptions correct or incorrect. Can you prospect in a way that makes people like you? If not, I can't help you. You need to go get another sales job where you have a manager or a coach, right? Number 2, if you can get people to like you, can you close a deal? If you get all these people, well, I have 200 people that are interested. How many of them bought from you? Nobody. Then you can't sell. So it doesn't matter about which processor you're with. It doesn't matter about their compensation. All of that is totally irrelevant because you haven't even proven the first 2 assumptions. The first 2 assumptions are, can you prospect merchant services and can you sell merchant services? Those are the first 2 assumptions. So my advice to somebody getting into the business and like, which processor should I sell for? Nobody. Go out in the field and sell first. Well, how can I do that? I don't have paperwork. I don't have, it doesn't matter. Go get some business cards that say payment consultant, for sole proprietor or whatever, and walk into businesses and say, hey, I'm just starting a business up. Have some conversations and see, do you know how to get people interested? And do you know how to get people to buy from you? If you do, well, then all of a sudden the processor becomes really important, don't they? Because now you have a deal and you're going to write a deal. What's their paperwork like? What's the application process? Now you're going to prove the next 2 assumptions. See how that works? But my advice to somebody getting into business is, number 1, you have an idea that you feel like is a good idea. What are the assumptions? Then what's the quickest path to proving those assumptions true or false? That's how you can really get yourself going in business. And that's what I would do as a young person or even somebody else who's going from an employment to an entrepreneurial deal is, what are the assumptions that are underlying this? And then prove those assumptions as quickly as possible so you can either start making money or so you can end that and move on to something else that's going to be more profitable for you. My name is James Shepard. Thanks for watching and listening.